It's good enough for government work or our podcast.
Hey, I do government work.
Exactly.
We put a lot of time and effort into what we do.
I'm sure you do.
We work really hard.
When you work. No, I'm
Yeah,
sure. I'm sure you work hard when you work.
I work very hard.
So we're the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. Thanks for listening to the
No
podcast.
idea how much hours I put into my job.
I'm the Grumpy Dungeon Master Jay.
And
That
I'm the overworked Christopher.
yeah, that grumpy bastard. That's Christopher, aka Chris. And we're gonna bitch and complain about Dungeons and Dragons like we always do every single week.
All right, so first off, did you see that Baldur's Gate 3 has an official release date?
I did. I don't remember when it is, and I'm
Au-
absolutely positive it's going to be pushed back.
August 6th of next year.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Did you see the collector's edition that they released as well?
I did not. No.
Okay. So they're releasing a collector's edition for a game that's already been out for 2 years. Okay.
In some
So
form or fashion, yeah.
in some form or fashion, they decided basically to release an early access version of the game when there was a lot of hype about the game. And this is Baldur's Gate, so it's D&D. It's the third in a series, but it's a new development company. We're streaming their other game, Divinity 2, right now, and it's a lot of fun. Divinity is a great game. It's pretty much just playing D&D with your friends.
Yes.
Okay, and you always have that one asshole that keeps casting fireball in the party.
I don't know who would keep doing that.
Anyways, I don't cast fireball. It's corpse explosion. There's a difference. Anyways.
After you cast fireball, you then cast corpse explosion.
So, there's a lot of hype about this company making the next Baldur's Gate. Unfortunately, the other development company that made Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 did not win the work to do Baldur's Gate 3, and they didn't bring in any of the writers or developers from the previous two games. All that aside, I guess, it's still a Baldur's Gate game and a D&D Baldur's Gate game, so it should be good. So they have a trailer out there. Go watch a trailer. It's fantastic. It looks great. And hopefully, even though the game's been in development hell for the past 2 years, it'll be done by August. But
Let's
that's not what I want to bitch about. The collector's edition. We've already paid full price for the game.
Yes.
Okay, because we bought it in early access, knowing that just chapter 1 was complete, and it turned out that chapter 1 wasn't complete in any way, shape, or form.
No, not even close.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be like what 4 or 5 chapters, and hopefully they I like the company. I think they'll do better. I think it will be a good game eventually.
I think a lot of the problem isn't them. I think it's you got the overseer of Hasbro.
I think so. Yeah. So they're basically saying that the game has to come out. Hasbro is not meeting the mark on doubling their value in 5 years. In fact, they're actually worth less now 2 years into that directive than they were when they announced the directive.
Should have just done Divinity 3.
They should stop screwing over magic. So that being said, the collector's edition is a really cool collector's edition. And part of it is the price point is the game you get, and the game's already $60. Okay. With the collector's edition, you get a lot of really cool things. You get an art book that shows off some art, which is nice. You get a collector's edition box, which is great. It's got a mind flare on it. Really cool looking box. You get a cloth map of the Faerun.
You mean you mean Sword Coast?
No, it says cloth map of Faerun.
Yeah, aka Sword Coast.
Probably. And it's A3 size too, so it's not really that big. You get a oversized metal D20 with some kind of symbol for the D20. It's not a mind flayer. It's not Minx. It's not the Baldur's Gate symbol. It's some other kind of weird symbol. I couldn't really place it. You get 32 stickers that are chibies of the characters from the game.
That's the most interesting thing I've heard about it so far.
You get character sheets for each of the characters in the game. All done this really cool arty style. Okay. And you get a certificate of authenticity. Okay. This is the real collector's edition, only making 25,000 of them. Okay. And the big selling point of it is there's a 10-inch Mind Flayer statue where he's about to kill a drow. It looks badass.
I'm pretty sure that
Now,
drow's about to fuck him up.
what would you buy? What would you pay for all that wonderful things?
Okay, so
Remember, it includes a game that's a $60 value.
yeah, okay. So couple things, and I will answer your question. Uh, while it does include a game, it includes a fucking Steam code.
Oh,
Okay.
I forgot to say. Oh, there's a Mind Flayer tadpole keychain.
Oh
I missed
yeah,
that one.
yeah. That's kind of cool, actually. Actually, yeah, I'm looking at that. That's kind of neat. But
Okay.
I'm old. If I'm buying a fucking collector's edition, I want a physical game. I don't give a shit if I ever use it. It could give me a Steam code and a game. I'd be happy. But that's just me. I'm old. Um,
Right. Physical games do not exist anymore.
I know, I know. If it was if they were actually releasing this on say Xbox or PS4, you would actually have a physical game for it. But as it is PC only, they're not going to make a fucking game for it because they don't actually make PC games anymore. Um, Me personally, I would never pay for this because I don't give a shit about this. My Off the top of my head, I'm going to guess they're probably charging close to $300 for this.
They're
So what?
charging $270 for this.
Okay, so I'm relatively close.
And
The,
that means if you want to buy this and you already have the Steam game,
yeah,
which
then
that's all you
you
get at
yeah, you're
$60
still
value,
fucked. You're
you're
just
paying
wasting 60.
330. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, it's going to be more than that because you're going to have to pay the fucking delivery fee, which is going to be, another 10 or $15.
Yeah. Like to be fair, this is an actual collector's edition on them because there is the certificate of authenticity. They're limited to 25,000. So this is an actual limited thing. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. And unlike like the current collector edition for WoW, where it's like, oh yeah, we print this box and the other box ad nauseum forever, and there's nothing special about it. Versus like the first WoW collector's edition was limited to like 50,000 copies or something like that.
There's one major flaw in this being a collector's edition is the fact that they're giving you packs of Magic the Gathering cards.
No, no, no,
Hold on.
no, no. Only the first 15,000 orders get those 3 draft packs of Baldur's Gate booster
I
cards.
don't care if it's the first 10 or the first, however many. It's the fact that they are giving you 3 packs of Magic cards in this collector set.
Hmm.
If you buy anything that's a collector's set, it only maintains value and only grows in value if it is complete.
Well, the
And
magic
when you
cards
get those
are not
when you
included in the box. They're extra because of the delay of the game being
okay.
released.
Okay then. So you just get what do you just get a credit for fucking Magic cards? How does that work?
They ship you the box, and then like on top of the box, there's 3 magic packs.
Okay, so all right. So without the Magic packs, it's still complete. Awesome. All right,
Yes,
that belays that issue.
but they're not the draft packs. They're not even set boosters. They're not even collector's edition booster packs. They're just draft packs of the worst commander set to come out in the last 3 years. And the thing is that the Magic the Gathering Baldur's Gate collector's commander set actually features all the NPCs and PCs from this game in it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm very certain that they had, hey, we're releasing this Baldur's Gate thing. We need to tie it with the video game release, and it got pushed back, so they couldn't link it together because like the Githyanki girl, she's a main card in the set. She's one of the most valuable cards in the set.
Huh.
All the other NPCs are there in some kind of way, shape, or form, You know, a lot of the NPCs from the Baldur's Gate book are also there. You know,
Yeah.
it's so they're kind of like giving that as like a throw on extra thing, but only draft packs, only for the first 15,000 people who order. It's really just disappointing because like I would
Honestly, if there's 15,000 of these made, it's not going to be worth shit.
25,000 are made.
Yeah, it's like that immediately just sort of kills the value of it. Collector set,
Mm.
1,000 of them is as many of them as there should be. Maybe 2,500. Once you start getting into the higher numbers, though, it really reduces the value of things like this.
So we're gonna play a game. Would you rather buy the collector's set of Baldur's Gate 3 with everything we just talked about,
Yep.
including an additional copy of the game, or one pack of Magic the Gathering 30th anniversary booster cards?
um, I, wow, that's a tough question, man. So
You get a pack of not legal proxies in any format
yeah,
of the
yeah.
original
I have
possible Power 9.
I have the feeling, and I hate to say this, I really fucking hate saying this. I have the feeling that short term, this collector's edition box is worth more. In the long term, those fucking magic proxies will be worth more because of one, the massive hubbub over them, two, the minimal amount of them that were actually sold.
Well,
In 10 years or 15 years, those piece of shit proxies that every Magic player hates will actually have value.
every store across the country is getting 4 free packs, and if you're a WPN store, you get 6 free packs.
Yeah, but still, there's not a buttload of them. They didn't print as many of them as they did, say, Baldur's Gate. You know,
Hmm.
so if you pull like the common cards out of there aren't going to be worth shit. But if you just happen to pull one of the Power 9 cards, good on you. Right now, it might be worth very little, and you might kind of get laughed out of any place you try to get rid of it. But a decade from now, it's going to actually have value.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I
Anyways, I just
look,
wanted to bitch
I
about the
hate it.
fact that this
I hate it,
collector's
but that
edition
is the
was
fact. That is the
two
way
hundred and
that works.
seventy dollars.
Yeah, $300 for this thing is a joke.
Yeah, it really is. It kind of makes me sad. I really hope that they. I hope it sells, but I'm pretty sure I can just probably buy this later for that
Half price.
price. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. There's 25,000 of them. I don't think they're going to sell nearly that many.
Well, let's move on to what we want to talk about last week and complained that we didn't talk about the Cleric from the UA,
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about the cleric.
because we both read it extensively throughout the week and have a lot of opinions on it.
I have read it twice now, so yeah, that's something. You read it. You did read it, at least part of it.
I got past creating a Cleric and you're like, are you done yet? I was like, well, okay.
Well, I already read it a second time. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't read 5,000 words a second.
Second time through, I was just sort of skimming. I was looking specifically at Divine Spark because that's new. I wanted to make sure if Turn Undead had changed, which it has. Like I was just picking and choosing. I wasn't reading, oh, how do you prepare spells? Because I'm assuming that shit hasn't changed. And if it did, well, probably really dumb if they changed it.
Yeah.
So we'll just start at the top, sort of. They've got, so you get Channel Divinity at first level, and they've
Well,
added.
no, back up
Oh,
more.
okay, well, I'll
You
let
need
you start then. You go
you need
ahead.
to start with what a Cleric is in 6th edition, because that's changed drastically.
Has it?
Did you not read?
You have a D8 for hit points. You cast spells. Your
No,
saving throws are
before
wisdom
that.
and charisma. Oh,
Before that.
you're part of the class group priest, which is
Okay.
priest is actually what they called them in 2nd edition. There were no clerics. It was just priest.
Mhm.
Oh, do you actually want me to read whatever the fuck
Yes.
they're going? Okay, well, fine.
Yes.
I didn't read it because I don't care what fluff shit they're throwing in here.
The fluff matters, man. The fluff matters. It's delicious.
I mean, I personally, I really like I bitch about the lore all the time, But
Yeah.
this, I don't know about this being lore. This is just fluff piece. All right. Clerics draw power from the realms of the gods and harness it to work miracles. Blessed by a deity, a pantheon, or another immortal entity, a cleric can reach out to the divine magic of the outer planes where gods dwell and channel that energy to bolster people and to battle foes. Because their power is a divine gift, clerics typically associate themselves with temples or shrines dedicated to whatever deity or other immortal force unlocked their magical ability. Harnessing divine magic doesn't rely on study or training, yet a cleric might need formulaic prayers and ancient rites that help them focus their minds and spirits on drawing power from the outer planes. Even a cleric who declines to worship their divine benefactor might perform their benefactor's rites if doing so helps the cleric feel connected to the immortal realms. Not every acolyte or officiant at a temple or shrine is a cleric. Some priests are called to a simple life of temple service, carrying out their devotion through prayer and rituals, not through magic. Some of the most influential high priests are incapable of harnessing divine magic, and a few of them feel threatened when a cleric appears. Many can pray, and some mortals claim to speak for their gods, but few can marshal the power of those gods the way a cleric can. That's a nice typo. So, what is different here?
So in the kind of like cosmology of a cleric, all right, they've always basically been you establish yourself with a god, okay, or gods, okay, not an immortal entity, but I guess now an immortal entity counts.
Now,
Um,
the term immortal entity is so vague.
yeah,
Like it could just mean a god. Who knows? Like,
right. So usually, and it is they've added more to this recently because they're kind of moving to a multiverse style setup with sixth edition and the end of fifth edition. So gods are now all existing in the outer planes, the place in between all the different realms and all the different pockets. Okay, so they all exist out there in that one plane of the outer planes, and you now draw power through that plane, not through any other kind of agency, and you cast all your spells that way. That's they've kind of they've opened it up. Like there used to be a limitation, like if you were traveling from Toriel to a different planet, okay, and you're going through the astral sea, you know, your connection to your god was tied to the planet, and since you weren't there anymore, well, now you can't cast your spells as well.
yeah,
So they got rid of that in fourth and fifth edition. You know, your god's power kind of radiates throughout the multiverse, throughout the universe, and you can always
right.
touch different things. Just to make it easier, I guess, for people to play clerics outside of their own realm. But now all the gods just dwell in an outer plane.
That's pretty much always been the way.
No, they've always existed in a different plane, but they were still limited in their scope and space. They're kind of shifted up a level now to like Tiamat is like a good example of something that exists in all the planes, you know. And if you worship her, you pretty much can access her magic because she exists on all the planes in some way, shape, or form. But Torm might not exist in all the different planes. So if you were a worshiper of Torm and you just popped up in, I don't know, crazy Fufu land where Tiamat's there and Bahamut's there, but Torm isn't, you couldn't cast your spells for Torm. You'd have to go talk to Bahamut and say, hey, I worship Torm. Can you like make a link between me and him so I can cast my spells again? And usually the DM sets all that up ahead of time and people don't talk about it that much because they don't want to get it too confusing.
Right. Well,
But now they're
hold
pretty much just setting it as like everything is outer planes. There's no localized god structure anymore? Question mark.
on. Okay,
Oh.
so every setting has always been a little different, and the only time that you really ever had to worry about losing access to your god was in Spelljammer. So if I'm playing in a Spelljammer setting, and I've created my character in Forgotten Realms, I'm a follower of Torm, and then I hop on a Spelljammer ship, and oh shit, we ended up in Dark Sun or somewhere. At that point, getting into Dark Sun, there might have been limitations as to how many, like what level of spells I could cast, or if I could cast spells at all. And
Right.
a lot of that was it was intentionally subjective and handed off to the DM to make a decision as to how that works. Like there were
Right.
never really hard rules on that. Just that once you leave your little sphere of whatever world you were on, you might have some issues.
Right.
This just sort of it sounds like they're just sort of getting rid of that. You
Yeah.
know,
And
okay, so you're playing
it's kind of been
Spelljammer.
moving that way to begin with
Yeah,
for a
you're
while.
and with them going to Planescape, I kind of understand it. Yeah, because Planescape
Yeah.
comes out early next year, I think.
Yeah, and that pretty much is going to rewrite the Planescape from
Yeah,
the bottom up. And I
yeah,
don't mind that. I don't mind having a book that's like, okay, here's a Planescape moving forward before 5th and 6th edition. And I'll be fine with it. I'll accept it as long as it's not stupid.
yeah. Well,
You know.
yeah.
Uh, hey
I
guys,
want.
here's a Planescape lore book. The first chapter is all the cool new stuff we've added and all the lore changes and all the lore stuff. It's super extensive, 3 whole pages. The rest of it's a campaign setting.
You know that's what it's going to be. That is
if it
exactly what it's going to be.
if it is, I'll play Pathfinder.
Every one of these settings that we've expected them to drop a lot of lore and actually make a proper setting has been, oh, here's 130 pages of module. Here's you a few monsters, and there you go, man.
You're
Enjoy.
done. Have fun.
I
Good.
hope you have fun with it.
Yeah, not what we want. We
No,
understand that WotC needs to double their income in the next 5 years, but this is not the way to do it through D&D. We need lore books and we need adventure books. 2 books for every freaking setting. You did it in 4th edition. It was fine. It's awesome. I loved it. I love it. There's a Dark Sun lore book and a Dark Sun adventure book. Okay,
yeah, I
go
mean,
back to that.
I wouldn't complain. I personally, I'd rather have a lot more lore books, but I wouldn't complain if they did it that way. You know, every time you drop a new adventure module, maybe that month or same time or even relatively close, drop a entire book explaining that campaign setting. It's not hard. It's not hard.
Yeah, I like I like what they were doing with 5th edition, where they had like the of everything books, and those were like the
Yeah,
player expansion books, And instead of calling it Player's Handbook 1, Player's Handbook 2, I get that's kind of a little boring, but at
yeah.
least they were numbered.
It's Volo's
So honestly,
guide or whatever. Yeah,
well, Vol's Guide to Monsters and Tome of Foes and Monsters of the Multiverse, they really needed a better, like, a better to everything for those. So if it was, like all tomes or different words for tomes. So like,
moving
you have
things around.
Volo's Guide to Monsters and then you have Mordecai's Tome of Foes.
Yeah,
Um so Fizzband, I guess it had Treasury of Dragons. I guess that kind of fits.
yeah.
Um but like that's having that kind of like nomenclature. I don't
Yeah.
know. Was very fun and interesting. Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide should have been a Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide to everything. That would have fit
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
other
really,
books.
yeah. Yeah, that would have been appropriate. But the thing is, it came out so early in
Yeah.
5th edition. They hadn't quite solidified what they were doing.
Well, there was that also. There was a major change in leadership at that
Mhm.
time. A lot of the old 3rd, 4th edition people quit. Um,
I mean, I can't say I
and
blame them.
and
They
the
knew
new
what was
guard guy
coming.
took over.
They knew exactly what was coming and got the
Well, I
hell
mean,
out.
since that time, that's when Fifth took off. So I can't really say that. You know,
Yeah, but that's most likely because of marketing and Critical Role.
maybe.
It's not because of quality of product. Like quality
All
of
right, fair. I mean,
yeah,
Chris Perkins is like a fantastic world designer and DM, and I like him in his role. I just don't. There's that governing agency at WotC that's I think causing most of the problems. So I
yeah.
don't know.
It's It's who it's I'm gonna it's a mix of Hasbro. Honestly, it's probably almost all Hasbro because they're just telling leadership and for the D&D team, this is what we're wanting you to do.
Yeah.
This is my assumption. Obviously, I'm not on the inside. I mean, for all I know, it could be that just the higher ups at the D&D team. But hey, if they keep losing their asses, then well, they'll be out of a job too. Because sooner or later they'll get the boot.
All right. Well, back to the cleric and the fact that they reworked all gods into one outer plane.
But
I
yeah,
don't.
that's fine.
My other thing about this is that they had a little caveat there of immortal entity, and one thing that's kind of always like a myth to me, I guess maybe the best word, is that there never really was like the old god domain for the cleric, or really like evil domains. There was like the death domain and the grave domain and the trickery domain and the war domain, but they weren't necessarily evil. But whenever you have a cult, you always have those evil priests. You have those evil clerics,
Uh-huh.
and they never really kind of like worked that into the cleric class as much as I thought they should. They kind of just push that all to Warlock. Like Warlock has the pact with the old god. Well, why not have an old god domain and an old god pact as well too? Why not have those both? I mean, yeah, they're kind of the same. Clerics and warlocks kind of step on each other's toes a lot, but I still wouldn't mind, even if there's a little bit of overlap there. Like I wouldn't mind having a team of just evil people. That's old god cleric and old god
I see
warlock.
what I see what you're saying. Fifth edition though, like it's really not designed for evil characters. Most of the subtypes and archetypes that you have in here just aren't evil. I'm not saying you can't play an evil character with them, obviously, but that isn't the design of them. If you go to third edition, they actually give you evil subclasses where you have to be evil to even take that subclass.
Yeah,
It's a
and that's
prerequisite.
something that they should bring back wholeheartedly but they're not going to because they hate alignment.
Yeah, they hate alignment, and honestly, they're just designing this for people to play good characters. Yeah,
Yeah,
like that
I
is
don't
the
like that the
intent.
cleric is always good.
Yeah,
Like even the
if you,
war cleric is like for righteous justice and shit.
yeah, if you want to
No,
be
I want to be Kratos.
even the grave domain cleric does not scream bad guy. It doesn't. It really doesn't, and that's disheartening.
Yeah. So I was hoping maybe they would have a little bit more of like, oh yeah, we're gonna have evil clerics now, but no,
No, if
no
you
hints towards that.
yeah, like even warlocks, they're pushing away kind of from evil. It.
They're warlocks.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
It's a
Uh,
warlock, not a happy lock, not a friendly lock. A warlock.
well, in one of them, you could actually be a follower of a celestial and gain warlock powers now.
Uh,
Yeah, sort of defeats the purpose of the original warlocks.
you sold your soul for greater power to do nefarious things. Yeah, but I sold it to that Huffalump over there.
Yeah, yeah,
He gave me the power to make cotton candy and make everyone have good feelings.
man, that seems like fun. Actually, I kind of want to play a character that's like the what was it, the flamethrower guy from Team Fortress, except he has the one where it's just where he's seeing this crazy world of unicorns.
The Pyroland goggles, yeah.
Yeah, the Pyroland goggles. That could be fun. Play him as a warlock.
All right, so overall, nothing's changed with the cleric with
Uh,
its starting equipment, armor training.
yeah, that's
I, I
that's
don't
all the same.
I don't know why they're not intelligence based uh, characters.
Well, it actually explains it up top. Uh, like in that part I just read, because their power is a divine gift. Clerics typically associate themselves with temples or shrines dedicated to whatever deity or other immortal force unlock their magical ability. Harnessing divine magic doesn't rely on study or training. Yet
I
a
know.
Yet a cleric might learn formulaic prayers and ancient rites that help them focus their minds and spirits on drawing power from the outer planes.
I
So
just if intelligence, if religion's going to stay an intelligence-based skill, and they're not going to give, I know they give training, you get religion just immediately as a skill. I honestly think you should be able to add your wisdom bonus to it if you're a cleric. Maybe not like other classes, but I don't know. It's just like I've seen so many clerics have religion and then have to roll a religion check and get like a 5, and then with all their modifiers it's still 5 because they don't have any bonuses or pluses to it. They forget that they even trained it, so it's actually 7. But still, it's like you're still just almost tied to that D roll because the proficiency
Yeah,
bonus
but
just doesn't add up enough.
that's for every class, the period. Like if you're playing a wizard and you have Arcana, sometimes you just roll like shit.
Well, I know you roll like shit, but it's doubled down for the cleric because religion is like their main focus. They still suck at religion checks.
Is religion an intelligence-based skill?
Yes, but while wizards, on the other hand, know freaking everything about religion, especially if they pick it up as training as an extra skill of theirs,
Yeah.
more than the cleric does, and they're not fixing that, and they really should. They should be able to add wisdom to the religion checks.
Yeah, I was not aware it was a intelligence-based thing. Yeah, if that's the case, I'm actually looking to verify right now. Yeah, yep. Yeah, that's just dumb. Huh.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, that should be wisdom-based.
Well, it should. Well, I mean, I understand why
Yeah,
learning religion is
because
a study,
you have to study it. I get it.
but you can't say that being a cleric doesn't require any study, and then having religion.
What they
I guess
should do is
they're
just
not
add
tying religion to deities, but that's exactly what it is.
what
So,
a simple way to do that is not even to change it that way, but it's just to when you take first level of cleric, you just get +2 bonus to your religion checks.
I mean, they get the proficiency.
Yeah. Oh, I'm aware,
Yeah.
but you just add another on top of that to kind of equal that out, or it could just be
How
every
about you give them
every
expertise? That would be a nice middle ground.
sure, yeah, that something like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with this. Channel divinity doesn't seem to have changed much.
You get them instead of getting it like once or
Yeah,
a
it's
short
instead
rest,
of like
long rest.
yeah, you can
You
use
get
it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus.
which honestly that's the best change so far they've given insects is tying things to what your proficiency bonus is. Like
Yeah,
if they go through and overhaul everything with just that, I think it's mission success.
it's
But
good. Yeah, that's better than a once a day
yeah,
or whatever the hell they've been calling it. Once per long rest, I think. So they've added a new ability into the channel divinity that clerics get called Divine Spark, and and we're about to talk about the other thing you were going on about right before we started the
well, go
podcast.
through Divine Spark and turn on that, and then I'll rant for 30 minutes.
No, we'll rant for 2 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Let's be real. All right, Divine Spark. As a magic action, you point your holy symbol at another creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself and focus divine energy at them. Roll a number of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus and add the rolls together. You either restore hit points to the creature equal to that total or force the creature to make a constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes radiant damage equal to the total, and on a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage rounded down. Then they have Turn Undead. As a magic action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer censuring undead creatures. Each undead within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its save, it is dazed for 1 minute or until it takes any damage, or you're incapacitated or die. While dazed in this way, the only action the creature can take is the dash action, and if it moves, it must end that move farther from you than where it started. All right, so Divine Spark, I don't have really any issue with it. It's just another way to heal a few hit points on somebody. I'm pretty sure that the other part where you can attack a creature, no one will ever use that simply because it's a saving throw based thing. And it's just better to have some free healing on your hands.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not free. It takes your action,
Yeah,
and
but it's oh, I'm out of spells. Well, here, have some healing.
so
You know,
at level 20, well, even before level 20, at level 17, you reach the cap of that ability. So it's 68
Yeah. Now,
healing or 68 damage.
yes. Now there are other things that you gain along the way, if I recall right, that sort of add on to this. I'd have
Hmm.
to. Let's see. Thought there was. And maybe not.
So
Anyway,
it's not bad.
no, it's fine.
It would be better if Channel Divinity was always a bonus action, but it may be too powerful then, especially when you
Probably
tack
was.
on everything
Yeah.
else. Like, it's currently an action, but like I don't know. I just always kind of thought Channel Divinity was something like they can pull out as like a trump card, and having
Yeah.
use of your action in your turn for a trump card is kind of rough.
Well,
It'd be cooler if it was.
well, if I recall right, yeah, like every subclass had a different channel divinity. And
Yeah,
I really hope they're not taking that away because I liked having different channel divinities. Like every one of them could do the turn undead. But beyond
yeah.
that, like the life domain was different from the nature domain, which was different from the tempest domain.
I'm just scrolling down and looking. I don't see anything immediately.
So the turn undead portion has
Yeah,
changed. Oh, go ahead.
they do get preserve. They only show the life domain for the cleric subclass. They get um preserve life. It says you can use your channel divinity to heal a group of critically injured as an action. Why not a magic action? You can expend one of your channel divinities to present your holy symbol, and restoring hit points equal to 5 times your cleric level.
Okay.
Choose any creature within 30 feet.
Yes,
Uh,
it looks like, but that's at sixth level, so it looks like they may have just moved up when you get access to those in the subclasses, but it looks like they still have them, so that's cool. I'm all right with that.
yeah, but then why even have the other one? Why not just make Divine Spark better through this preserve life instead of giving them a brand new?
Well, that's also specifically for the healing, for the life domain.
Yeah.
So, well, it would make sense if they just upgraded the base ability of Divine Spark for the life domain, then it would be weird when they don't do that for every other one of the subclasses.
Well, it's simple. Like, you just say preserve life. Your Divine Spark channel divinity now can no longer harm people, but instead you can now heal with this, and
Yeah, but
change them significantly to tie in with the subclass actually meaning something, other than just giving them a new
well,
channel divinity
I think
that
it's just to be
overwrites the other
consistent.
ones.
I think it's just to be consistent because when they come out with a Tempest domain and all these other domains, they're not
Your
going to have.
Divine Spark now does thunder damage instead of radiant damage to all creatures. You
Yeah, yeah, but
upgrade a
a
base.
lot of them may not have anything whatsoever to do with that divine spark. Like I don't know, obviously, I haven't seen anything they've got, but it might not even deal damage, and it might not even heal. It
Right.
might do
So give them
completely
a
other
couple
stuff.
more just generic overarching divine casts, because like hell, even the disciples of Jesus had like 18 different things they could do. Okay. So why not give them all like 5 to 10 ish different kinds of channel divinities, and then when you reach a certain subclass mark, some of those get empowered.
I mean, honestly, this is such a minor thing. I don't even really think it's worth a discussion. Like it,
It just feels lazy. It just feels lazy. If you're going to go through all this stuff and improve these classes, and then not even improve them, not even use the same verbiage between one and the other, it's just
I don't think you need to. Divine Spark is its thing. You get it at first level. You don't ever have to touch on it again. It does what it does. It's all right there. You just, as you go along and make these subclasses, make something new using the channel divinity feature.
yeah.
So anyway, turn undead is a little different. Just to try to get us through this topic without a 2 hour and 45 minute podcast. Uh, it adds the dazed status now, which
Mhm.
was was that even a thing?
Not really, but
Don't yeah, like
Days is
I
fine.
well, what the hell does dazed
Days was
do?
from fourth edition, and it's pretty much it's just back.
Well,
Um,
all right, but what does it do? I see what
it
the description they gave, but is that what days actually does?
yeah. So the current turn on dead, it reads pretty much a turn creature must spend its turns trying to move as far away from you as it can, which it doesn't have to do it now. It can't willingly
Yeah.
move a space closer within 30 feet of you. It also can't take reactions. For its action, it can only use dash action to try to escape from any effect that prevents it from moving. There's nowhere to move. The creature must use the dodge action. That's what the current one is. So days, um, it's similar but a little different. This is what it was in fourth edition as well. So when you become dazed and you get the dazed condition, you can move or take one action on your turn, not both. Um, you also can't use bonus actions or reactions. And since um, the turn on dead says you have to move, you essentially can only move. That's it.
Yeah, so the fifth edition one, you have to move away. For its
Yes.
action, it can use only the dash action to try to escape from an effect that prevents it from moving. If there's nowhere to move, the creature can use the dodge action.
Right. So it says move as far away from
Yeah,
you as it
a
can.
turned creature must spend its turn trying to move as far away from you as it can.
Whereas
I don't like the sixth edition one at all
well,
because it's very very similar, but it is not forced to run away. And that's the point of
um,
turn undead. The point of turn undead is to make shit run away from you.
well,
It is
no. So it becomes dazed, so it gets the dazed condition, and the only action that creature can take is a dash action. So it can
yeah,
only move. It can't attack. Okay.
yeah,
But then it doesn't have to move as far away from you as it can. It just has to move further away from you than where it started. So it only has to move
right.
5 feet away.
And well, it doesn't have to move at all.
No, it does have to move.
If the creature fails its saving throw, it is dazed for 1 minute or until it takes any damage or blah blah blah. While dazed in this way, the only action the creature can take is the dash action, and if it moves, it must end that move farther from you than where it started. If it moves, it does not have to move. It can just stand there.
Okay.
Whereas the other one, it's you have to run away.
Yeah. No.
And I know this is a very minor thing, but from first edition through fifth edition, when turned, it had to run. There's precedent here. Don't go fucking with that.
Well, I mean, Turn on Dead and Fourth was a little different.
Well, that's fair. I assumed fourth was. I assumed
Uh,
fourth had to run away, but hell, I might not have. I don't know.
no, it's even better. Honestly, you should go back to this. Turn Undead is a cleric encounter attack power. Each nearby undead, so it's a burst.
Mhm.
Um, it has a burst of two, so it's a 10-foot radius, and then it goes up from there
Okay.
as you level up. Um, each nearby undead target takes radiant damage and is pushed and immobilized on hit. On miss, Turn Undead still deals half damage. Um, so they're pushed back and then immobilized.
Okay. So yeah, that is different. That's not running away.
But
The
it's,
one.
it's not running. It's not running away, but it's still pushing them back and
Yeah, yeah.
immobilizing
They
them.
move back a little bit, but
Well,
um.
I mean, push is it scales as well too. It goes
Okay.
a
Well,
number square is 3 plus your charisma
there
modifier, so
there
it
is
could get
a difference between getting moved and being forced to move.
yeah.
Um, one thing that I've always not been a fan of, as far as Turn Undead with fifth edition, is the fact that it no longer destroys undead.
It does in some of the subclasses,
Okay,
where
I
they add things in where, like I said, like if you cast Turn Undead, any creatures of like CR1 or lower immediately destroyed.
okay.
That's in there
I was all
someplace.
right. I hope so. Then I'm just gonna ignore this conversation.
All right, level 1 spell casting.
No, no, there's nothing that's changed in there.
Are you
Uh,
sure? Did you read it?
no, and I'm not going to.
You didn't
All
read
right.
the other fluff.
The next thing is at second level you gain Holy Order, and this is totally new. You have dedicated yourself to one of the following sacred roles, either on your own or as part of a religious order. Choose one of the following options: Protector, Scholar, or Thaumaturge. Protector, trained for battle, you gain martial weapon proficiency and heavy armor training, which is actually kind of cool. I like that they give you that option. Scholar, studying and teaching about lore of the gods and the multiverse, you gain proficiency in two of the following skills of your choice: Arcana, History, Nature, Persuasion, and Religion. Whenever you make an ability check using either skill, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your Wisdom modifier. And Thaumaturge.
Religion.
Yeah, I'll come back to Scholar. We're going to have to talk about that. Thaumaturge. Delving deeper into your divine magical abilities, you can prepare one extra 0-level spell from the divine spell list. See your spellcasting feature for more information on preparing spells. In addition, you regain one expended use of your channeled divinity whenever you finish a short rest. That's good they added that last part into Thaumaturge, because if all you got was another cantrip, that would be kind of a waste. Scholar. So you get you can basically learn two more skills, and whenever you make an ability check using either skill, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your Wisdom modifier. Um, yeah, like what if you take religion at level 1
You
and
get religion at level 1.
well, no, you don't necessarily. It
No, you
says
get
no, no,
persuasion and
no, no.
religion.
Or choose two from history, insight, medicine, persuasion, and religion.
Right.
So you get to choose. If you don't choose, then yeah, it gives you those two. So if you didn't, if you go with that, then you can't take religion as a scholar and get that wisdom modifier. So the whole thing is just kind of dumb and poorly designed.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, they need to rethink. They need to rethink religion as being intelligence based, but it's been that way for a while. But they absolutely need to rework this scholar option. I'll have to
Yeah.
if I remember to actually fill out their
It's so dumb. It's just
form
so
on this.
dumb.
All right. Third level, you get a cleric subclass. Fourth level, a feat. Fifth level, you gain Smite Undead.
There you
So
go.
yeah, you can cause your Turn Undead feature to smite the Undying. Whenever you use Turn Undead, you can roll a number of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus and add the rolls together. Each undead that fails its saving throw against that use of Turn Undead takes radiant damage equal to the roll's total. See, this is not Destroy Undead in my book. Um, I I'm so used to Destroy Undead being if a if an undead of a certain hit dice level compared to your level fails their saving throw against turn undead, they just die. Not damage, just gone, turned to dust, destroyed.
Yeah. The issue is that cleric as a whole still has, and maybe rightly so, but probably not anymore, has this I'm a good guy, undead slayer like motif about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I get that that's a very D&D flavor of things. Okay. So if you're going to continue with that, you're going to double down on that, and you want to keep that. So like just say clerics for some reason, no matter what god they worship, okay, they get turned undead for whatever reason, and it just destroys undead like it has since 1970.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. But why? Why does every cleric get turned undead? So you either need to give them a lot more channel divinities base to let the person who's playing the cleric kind of like pick and choose the channel divinities he wants, okay? And then have the subclass empower those channel divinities. Because if I'm a war domain kind of cleric, okay, maybe if I'm fighting a lot of undead, I'm going to pick turn undead. Or I'm going to take something that just smites the shit out of everybody. Or maybe
Yeah.
that's stepping on the paladin's toes now too much. I don't know. But I don't get a sense that they understand what clerics are going to be. And they still don't understand where they're going to put everything. So,
It's a fair argument because if I'm a Tempest cleric, I give a shit about lightning.
right,
Turning undead, meh.
useless.
I mean, it's not useless, obviously, but it doesn't necessarily fit the class. If I'm a nature cleric, okay, I could sort of see it. Life and light, sure. War even kind of makes sense, but there's other archetypes that just not quite fit. So I don't know that them even having turn undead, and I still like old stuff. I still like precedents, but if they removed turn undead from cleric as a general thing and gave it to specific subclasses, I wouldn't complain too much.
Yeah, like turn undead is a very life domain specific thing, and that's the example they give later.
Mhm.
So I'm fine with them getting, turn undead. I'm like I said, I'm also fine. I think the better solution is just make up more channel divinities that all have like a base, like CR1 strength level, which these two do, and then empower them later on
True.
as you pick your domain through your domain.
Yeah, through game building purposes, that's probably smarter to do it that way. The way they're doing it, I don't really necessarily have an issue with, though. Let's see. At sixth level, you get a subclass feature. At seventh level, you gain Blessed Strikes, which was that a thing previously? I don't think so.
Probably one of the domains. It sounds
Could have been
familiar.
yeah, it could have been a subclass, but I don't see it. So it was not a thing previously. Divine Power infuses you in battle. When a creature takes damage from one of your 0 level spells or your attacks with weapons, you can also deal 1d8 radiant damage to that creature. Once you deal this damage, you can't use this feature again until the start of your next turn. Uh,
Oh yeah, I remember why it sounds familiar because that's just the paladin ability that they have in fifth.
do paladins
That's
have an ability to do an extra d8 with spells? Because I don't
on their
think so.
attacks.
Yeah,
No, just through their attacks, but it's smite.
yeah.
At level 7 they get smite, the
Well,
class ability from paladins.
this is definitely not smite.
I mean,
Like,
they added it to spells or attacks with weapons, so
well, smite is the one where you burn spell slots.
yeah.
Oh, this doesn't burn a spell slot. This is just if I hit you with a spell, I can deal an extra 1d8 damage, or if I
Mhm.
hit you with a weapon.
Yeah. And I understand, but it's just they're just copying from.
Yeah, like divine smite. That's a whole other thing. That's what paladins get. At second level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend one spell slot to deal radiant damage to the target in addition to the weapon's damage. The extra damage is 2d8 for first level slot plus a d8 for each spell higher than first. So it's not quite the same thing. It is kind of touching on that just because, oh, you're just adding radiant damage. Um, and that's another one of those things as well. Kind of what we're just talking about. They're wanting everybody to be good guys. All clerics have this, this blessed strikes of dealing radiant damage. Well, what if they're grave domain? Why are they dealing radiant?
Mhm.
That doesn't really make sense. Like necrotic, maybe, but uh, moving on. Eighth level, you get a feat. Ninth level, holy order. Your sacred duties have expanded, allowing you to choose a second option from the holy order feature, which was the protector, scholar, thaumaturge thing we were talking about.
Yep.
10th level, you get a subclass feature. 11th level, you get divine intervention. I did read this. I don't think it's changed any. The the days might have changed on how long you can do this. Well, I'm not seeing it. Anyway, divine intervention at 11th level. You can call on your deity or pantheon to intervene on your behalf when your need is great. As an action, describe the assistance you seek and roll percentile dice. If you roll the number equal to or lower than your cleric level, the divine power intervenes. The DM chooses the nature of the intervention. The effect of any divine spell is appropriate. If the intervention occurs, you can't use this feature again for 2d6 days. Otherwise, you can use it again after you finish a long rest. Uh, I actually had this used in my most recent D&D game, and they actually succeeded.
Cool.
Yeah, it made a big difference. They were battling an adult black dragon, which is CR 16, I believe, and they were all 10th level. So
Okay.
the first thing that happens when the cleric gets his turn is he divine interventions and rolls like a 6 or some shit on percentile, which is lower than his level. And the assistance he had asked for was
Get me the fuck out of here! Ah!
no, they were adamant in trying to kill this dragon, and they did succeed in doing it rather handily, but it wasn't quite that simple. They had to pull off a lot of shit to get it done, and one of them was the divine intervention. And he had asked for a ice-based fireball because his deity is based on ice. So that's effectively what he got. I gave him 8d8 of ice damage that went
Nice.
off. So right out of the gates, just a nuke on this thing, and he rolled high as shit too. He rolled a lot of damage, and they
Very cool.
proceeded. Yeah, I of course, as the DM, went last in initiative because I always fucking go last in initiative in big fights like that. So every one of them got their turn before I did, and all they did was keep hitting it with stuff to burn through its legendary resist. And Muffin, our buddy Jacob, his turn comes up and he's playing a monk, and you know what he did. You know exactly what the fuck he did.
He used his key points just for extra hits,
Yeah,
not for
and
stunning strike.
well, he used stunning strike, and he kept doing it until he fucking succeeded because I ran out of legendary resists.
How dumb.
On the very last attack of the round from them, I ran out of fucking resist. So I got and I failed to save. So dragon got stunned, never got a turn.
Mm,
Uh-huh. Yep.
there better not be a stunning strike in 6th edition.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it if they removed it. Um oh, he played the thing that he remember when you were selling the initial sets of the Grumpy Dungeon Master's dice,
Yeah, yeah.
and he got the one time ever in a Grumpy Dungeon Master game thing, he actually used it.
What was his thing?
Give me a moment, I'll go find it.
Okay.
All right. So it reads, "Greetings. Thank you for your purchase. We hope you get a lot of mileage from these dice. Make sure to tell your friends about us and get them to buy a set as well. Here is your super secret special bonus. You may only one time invoke the wrath of a Grumpy Dungeon Master. Roll all 4 Grumpy Dungeon Master dice, then you may add or subtract 1 die value to any die rolled during your turn. For example, you could add the die to your attack roll, then 1 die to each die rolled for your damage, or lower the result of a saving throw rolled made versus one of your spells, then add the remaining die to the spell's damage. We hope this
Oof.
gets you out of a jam whenever the next one occurs. Roll high, Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher." And he when he went to take his turn, he used this on me and utilized his dice to do everything in his power to land those hits.
That's great. Good job.
Yeah. Hey, well played. I agreed to go along with it because I'm a grumpy dungeon master, and it was fun. It was awesome. I hate that I never got a turn with an adult red or adult black dragon, but yeah, it happens.
Yep. That's great.
Yep. All right. Yeah, divine intervention. Doesn't really seem to have changed any. 12th level, you get a feat. 14th subclass feature. 16th feat. 18th level, you get greater divine intervention. And this is the last thing that clerics get from their core class. When you use your divine intervention feature, it succeeds automatically. No roll required, and you can use it again after 2d4 days. I hate this. I
I
do
love
not
it.
I do not want that.
I want it.
I want divine intervention to be a, well, maybe it'll happen. It's
It's
always
gonna.
been that.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great level 20, now level 18 ability.
No, no.
Yeah.
Divine, and your God is a busy thing. Like, he doesn't have time to always answer the phone when you call. He's got 16 businesses he's trying to run.
Well, according to the fluff, there's a plane of them. They're all out there, like they're just watching us all, like from high up above. And they have
There,
nothing better in their time to do than to watch their holy warrior who is fighting Tiamat and going, "Yeah, I'm going to push her down for you."
so
Just
basically, they are always at a party in a man cave watching us on the big screen, like just eating fucking bags of chips with dip, all of them hanging out together, just cracking jokes, enjoying themselves. It's like the fucking Greek pantheon.
yeah. Well, I like it. I because it's a cap end ability. I'm fine with overpowered cap end abilities.
Oh, I don't even think it's overpowered because it really leaves it wholly up to DM's discretion onto what it does.
Yeah.
I just hate the fact that they are giving you an auto succeed on it. Divine intervention has always been hit or miss, and mostly miss, and I like it that way. Maybe double the
Um.
percentage chance that it succeeds or something. But
No, because all it's going to be doing most of the time is just burn, that legendary resist, or finally get a spell to stick after they're all resisted. You know,
maybe.
that's
Well,
all it's there for.
you get to describe the assistance you seek. Like, he asked for an ice based fireball, so that's kind of what I gave him.
Mhm.
But if he'd asked for other stuff, I would have done my best to kind of give him whatever he asked for.
Right, but I mean, you're just taking away that D100. So I'm fine with it. Really.
It's not game breaking or anything. I've always loved the divine intervention
Yeah.
randomness. So, all
Fair.
right, let's move on to the life domain to sort of finish this thing up. That's the only subclass that they currently have listed. Let's see. You, you get domain spells, and I don't know that that's even changed from
No.
life domain. Not no, probably not. Let's see. At third level, you gain Disciple of Life. Your healing spells are empowered by life itself. When a spell you cast with a spell slot restores hit points to a creature, that creature gains additional hit points on the turn you cast the spell. The additional hit points equal 2 plus the spell's level. Pretty sure that's what it already is.
I'll double check. I don't think it is.
Um, Pretty sure it
Uh,
is. I could be wrong.
oh yeah, it's 2 plus the spells level. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So they didn't change that. It used so the next one used to be a
Well, it used to be
channel.
second level, not now. It's third.
Well, okay, yeah. The next one used to be a channel divinity. Now they've made it a sixth level thing. It used to be you just got it at second level with channel divinity.
Oh no, I'm
Uh,
sorry. It used to be sixth level. Now it's
well, no,
third.
Disciple of Life was.
It's a sixth level.
No, it was first level. I'm staring at it right here. Now it's third. So they moved when you get it. The channel divinity used to be second. Now you just get it as a
Oh,
sixth.
heal
That's the
you
one we
as
were
well.
talking about earlier, where you can restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your cleric level. The preserve life. Uh, the next one, blessed healer, used to be sixth. Now it's 10th. Let's see
That's what
now.
yeah, that's what I was getting confused. So that's just heal. Whenever you heal somebody, you get healed as well.
Yeah, yep. I mean, yeah, that didn't seem to change either, other than where it's at. And
Right.
the last one that used to be 17th level is now 14th level, and that's Supreme Healing. Uh, when you would normally roll one or more dice to restore hit points to a creature with a spell that you cast with a spell slot, don't roll those dice. You just heal the maximum amount.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, which is honestly that's where it's always been. Moving it down in level doesn't really seem to matter too much. So honestly, they didn't really change anything about the life domain other than just the levels you get stuff at. It looks like.
Yeah, they seem to have changed it a lot with the different all the classes, kind of rearranging them.
Yeah. So that's the cleric. Now let's bitch about the magic action since we didn't do that earlier.
So part of the whole
Hang on.
part,
Let me read what magic action
no,
is.
no, I got it. I got it.
Okay, all right, you do it. Have at it.
Magic is now an action type. Like attack is now an action type, where attack is with a melee weapon, but magic is when you cast a slotted spell.
Wait, attack. Does it say melee weapon?
I think so.
Oh Lord, I hope not. Then that means there's going to be a ranged one.
Well, it's like attack or
Oh, okay.
uh,
With a weapon, it is not melee. Okay.
yeah. So in their effort to basically say, to consolidate these things down to make sure everyone understands them, fifth edition said, okay, you have fourth and fifth said you have an action, and these are the things you can do in your action: cast a spell, attack with your weapons, attack with your hands, grab a dude, run extra fast, and that worked perfectly fine. All right. But now they split up magic into an action and attack into an action. I think they're just confusing everything. They're kind of doing it
Huh.
the flip. Okay.
From my
I would
understanding,
just say, I would say,
that's more akin to fourth edition because that was one of the things that turned me off to fourth edition was having everything as its own little fucking separate action like this.
no, you just had three things. You had uh oh, I can't even remember what it was. It was action, move, and minor.
Okay,
Okay.
let's not get into that. But anyway, go
So
ahead.
you had your action, everything you could do in your actions. Then you had your move, and you had a minor action. And the confusion with the minor action, because there was like 1,000 things to do, and everyone had to do something with a minor action. They changed it to bonus action in fifth, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, it's bonus, so I don't always have to use it." And people felt better. It was a psychology
Yeah.
trick.
Nobody knew how to fucking use it at first. I didn't even
Right,
understand how bonus actions work for
right.
for
But it was
quite a
just
while.
it's the same thing as minor action. They just changed the name. So now they're going to, oh, I'm going to attack, and that means X. Oh, I'm going to use magic. That means X. I don't like it. It should just be I'm taking an action. For my action, I'm casting a spell,
Yeah.
and leave it at that. But
It
because they're throwing in all this other stuff as like, well, part of your attack action, you can equip weapons. Well, part of your magic action, you can
yeah.
wiggle your hands around or some shit.
You
It's
can activate a magic item.
like they're overcomplicating simplicity.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt anything. Like it really doesn't, but it's more or less pointless. It doesn't actually serve a purpose. Now maybe they have some grand design, that they have coming down the pipeline that we don't know about that requires magic to be separated as its own action. But I don't trust that's the case with
No,
WotC.
I mean you're seeing it right now because attack is very specifically a weapon or unarmed strike, and during an attack action, you can also equip a weapon and move.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
like
a magic action, you can't.
yeah, so I'm going to read it. When you take the magic action, you cast a spell that has a casting time of an action, or you use a feature or a magic item that requires a magic action to be activated. If you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 minute or longer, you must take the magic action on each turn of that casting, and you must maintain concentration while you do so. If your concentration is broken, the spell fails, but you don't expend a spell slot. So I- like I said, it doesn't really hurt anything, but there's no point to it. And I don't trust that they've got some grand design that requires magic action to actually be its own separate thing from just, I take an action to do this thing.
I think it was more that they're trying to coddle the people who didn't understand that you could attack something, then move and attack again, or unsheath your weapons as part of your move action. Now
Probably.
I can see that equipping weapons as part of the move action was confusing, but that is 100,000% because of how you set it up in the player's handbook. It
Yeah.
looks dumb. It's on a separate table. It's not in the move section. That is your fault. But it's not like it's a major issue. Just move that text from the table into the actual text, and you're done.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
that's it.
And
Put it on the same page too. Well, by God, don't have it be on the following page. Oh my God!
like that has never in my lifetime even occurred to me that when you take an attack action, you would even have to equip a weapon. I'm just going to assume it's already equipped.
I think most people do. Technically, in fifth action, it's actually part of the move.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just never. Nobody cares. It's such a minute thing that it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, like I said, they want to move things out of the move action. What they're doing makes sense, but just don't. Just
Yeah, like
improve the move action. Make it not move anymore or something. I don't know.
yeah, like it. I mean,
You call it your tactical action,
you
and then
shouldn't
in
even
that
have to put.
tactical action, you can move and equip weapons and do this, that, and the other thing, and have it just cost movement. I don't know. Just I don't know.
They should just have one thing that says action, and then it explains all of your options. You know,
Well, you
like
can't take an action to draw your weapons because then you're losing a whole turn.
no.
That's
But I
why it's
mean,
part of the
just
move.
yeah. But when it says when you put it under action, and then you have attack, cast spells, etc., and when they describe attack, just say it is assumed that your weapons are drawn and ready to go because everyone
I'm sure there's some
forever
DM out
has.
there who says, "Well, you didn't tell me you draw your weapons, so
Well,
you're just punching them."
I'm sure there's some new dungeon master who has done that shit, and that's probably why they're even having it in the book at all.
I'm actually fine how it is in fifth edition if they would just
Move where it's at in the player's
put
handbook.
it in correctly.
Yeah, rather than on a separate page in a little text box off to the side. Yep. Like I had been running this game for 5 years before I ever even saw that box.
And the best part is, like, I think we've talked about this before, but in D&D Beyond, it's not even in the move section. It's like you got to scroll down like 7 pages.
Yeah.
It's an even worse spot. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't mind them labeling things as actions. That's cute, but don't. So if they're gonna split it up, then I guess magic makes sense. But I don't know.
I just don't think it's necessary is all.
Yeah.
Just another
Um.
thing that I don't feel is necessary, like the influence action. I don't feel that's a necessary thing. Uh, but
I
we
did.
go ahead.
I did want to talk to you about one thing before we ended it off. And I know we're running late already.
Sure, let's do it.
I played my game this weekend,
How
and
many characters died?
z- 0.
Oh wait, you did say you played, not
Well,
ran.
I DM'd.
Oh, okay,
All right. Well, I killed someone in Adventures League, but they asked for it, so.
fair enough.
Um. Anyways, so we're playing my Waterdeep Fiendish Summer, and I had to basically pull half of it out of my ass because the encounters that they were supposed to do as combat encounters, they missed or didn't get the opportunity to do them, so they kind of like sped to the end of the session first. So I had to extend that section out a bit and rearrange things on the fly. They didn't notice, so good for me, I guess. But during one of the combat encounters, I was using a particular monster. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and it's called Reaper of Ball. All right.
Yep.
So the Reaper of Ball, there's also like Night Blades. Night Blades are below the Reapers, and they all share this really cool aura of murder. All right. Aura of Murder says that as long as the creature is not incapacitated, hostile creatures within 5 feet gain vulnerability to piercing damage unless they have resistance or immunity to such damage. Okay?
Okay.
So as long as they're nearby somebody, they just take double piercing damage from any source.
Yeah.
All right. So it's really cool, especially when you dogpile one person and just stab them to death.
I like it because it actually uses vulnerability, which is a thing, but never been a thing.
So when you play Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus, you come across 4 Nightblades as a level 1 party. Now CR rating, they're only a quarter monster. All right.
All right.
But the Nightblades deal 1d4 plus 2 damage.
All right.
Okay. So if they roll a 4, all right, that's 6. And you have vulnerability.
Yep.
So you take 12 piercing damage.
Yep.
You're level 1. You're now dead.
Yeah, unless you are a barbarian or fighter with a big con bonus. Yeah, sucks to
Right.
be you.
I have killed more people in that encounter than I have any other encounter in Dungeons and Dragons. I've made it just 2 Nightblades and still killed somebody because they just walk up and like stab. You're down. Okay, stab. You're down. All right, stab. But the Reaper of Baal is a CR2 variant of the Nightblade, essentially. Okay. And it basically has the same things. It has some innate spell casting. It can charm person, disguise self. It has sanctuary. And it makes 2 dagger attacks and uses an ability called Shroud Self. So again, it's dagger attacks plus 7 to hit, 1d4 plus 5. So we're looking at a total of 18 damage on, 2 separate dagger attacks. So a total of 36 damage in 1 round with a CR2 monster. All right.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage if it succeeds at that. Yeah.
Right. But the actual 2 dagger attacks, when it uses Shroud Self, it becomes invisible until the start of its next turn.
So it gets advantage on its first attack.
Right. And you can't chase it down because it's invisible.
Yeah.
I do play it though that the aura of murder is such a presence that you feel it whenever you get close to it. So you could kind of like run around the battlefield when he's invisible and wait until you like fall into that aura of like, oh, something evil is here. He must be close.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. I would allow that, honestly. That sounds right.
When my wife playing her drow got in close, I was like, you feel the comfort of home. It feels like you're back at your mom's house having some wine. It's
about to die again from another assassination attempt from one of the other drow noble houses.
So, one of the players was playing a Dragonborn, and it breathed fire in a random area, and it found the aura, and it stood in it, and it's like, okay, I'm going to breathe this way. And it caught the Nightblade, or the Reaper of Baal in its flames. I say for a split second, you see in this square the figure of a man engulfed in flames, and the smoke appears and it dissipates and it's still invisible because it doesn't invisible. Sorry, invisibility doesn't break when they take damage. Only when they do the attack, make a damage roll, or cast a spell. So they knew that square he was in. So my wife, thinking smart, I allow flanking, flanks the invisible creature to basically offset the disadvantage. Now, would you allow that?
If it's already been hit by the fire, rules as written, the answer would be no. But this is one of them I probably would just ignore rules as written. It's been hit by the fire. You've seen its shape. I'm going to say that you would know which side is the front and which is the back. So yeah. So yes, I would allow that. I personally would not have thought of doing that, but now that it's been brought to my attention, yeah.
Well, I use flanking a lot, and even though my idea of flanking is that the creature, when he's surrounded, knows that there's one person here kind of like drawing his attention, and the other person's basically getting a shot at. He's got to guard himself from 2 sides. Mm-hmm. But from that logic, my step forward is if I'm invisible, yeah, you may know where I am, but I'm not really defending myself. You can't see me. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not actively dodging your attacks because you can't see me. I'm relying on being invisible to protect me. Um, so I didn't give her the cancellation of the disadvantage with the flanking advantage.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, as I'm thinking more about it, it makes more sense that way. First off, it is invisible. And it's this idea of it only just yeah, combat always takes place in that little area, but in truth, it's in that 5 foot
Yeah,
space. It's got a lot. There's like 5 feet's a good amount of movement space, so
yeah,
it may not be right where you think it is.
yeah. So I didn't give it to her, and she was like, "No, that's bullshit." And it kind of was. I said I'd bring it up on the podcast. Mike, the other DM that has filled in for me, he actually agreed with me. Normally we butt heads on rillings, but he agreed with me on this one, which was surprising.
Yeah, and I don't.
Um,
I personally I don't use flanking. It's just not a.
yeah.
It's not a thing in my games. So
Um, but yeah, it I think what I gave her is I lowered its AC a little bit for her to hit, and she still whiffed.
yeah,
Um,
that's something at least.
yeah. I mean, it's just not as concerned of being flanked because it's invisible.
Right.
That's just how my mind went. And I thought I'd toss it out there as a thought. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, I guess rules is written because flanking is an optional rule, and visibility still over trumps the optional rules. I don't know.
Yeah, it's confusing. If you're using flanking, then that just makes it all the more complicated. As it's an optional rule, I would still say the standard rules will trump that. And the
Yeah,
rules as written, there's nothing about that.
yeah,
So yeah, if it's invisible, there are strict terms as to what invisibility does.
yeah,
That's the simple of it. You can't gain the advantage on it really.
yeah. So that's pretty much how what I thought. And the rest of the night went well. We actually got back and actually were able to basically do the missions that needed to be done. Um, the group is running missions for the Lord's Alliance and the Zentarum at the same time.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that the mission that they were assigned from each separate group involved them going to the docks and dock ward and killing somebody.
All right.
It's
So
weird.
there's so
I
there are,
buy that from the Zentarum. Hey, go here, kill a dude. All right.
so there's just
Lord's
there.
Alliance showed up. Hey, go here and kill a dude. Okay.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, you know as well as I do, a lot of those Lords Alliance guys are not good dudes.
No. I just found it funny though. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
mean, maybe they were sending them to kill a Zentarum guy or something, but still, I
No,
get it.
I double checked that just in case because I didn't want to have any kind of strife like that happen.
Yeah.
So it wasn't revolved around that, but I just
Okay.
thought it was funny.
Yeah, I didn't run
We're
any
the
D.
good guys. Kill him.
Yeah.
I'm not paying you. We're the
Yeah.
bad guys. Kill him. I'll pay you 50 gold.
I
Bad
didn't
guys
run
make
any.
more money.
I didn't run any D&D this weekend. Won't be running any for December. Still taking that off, but spent the weekend hanging out with a few of my players, making second edition D&D characters, teaching them how THACO works.
Oh God.
Yeah, oh, it's easy.
No, it's a clown.
Well, it's really easy when you actually just have the THACO meter printed on the character sheet.
You're a thachometer.
You're a THACO meter, a thachometer. I'd go with thachometer. But yeah, I'm ready to run second edition. I'm really enjoying reading through the stuff again, learning how to create characters again. Because honestly, I hadn't done that in so long. I forgot how. Quick and easy.
Yeah, you just need meters and monitors and extra tables and charts and
Oh,
you know
there's more
the
number
ability to
crunching. Yes,
divide by zero.
there is more number crunching, and I'm loving every second of it.
What if I don't know numbers?
Well, if you can't do numbers, you're gonna have a hard time playing D&D at all.
Well, I don't abide by your DC-10 THACO system. I only prefer number bases of 12 and 7.
One of these times we are going to successfully get together at a convention. We're going to have Randy run you through some second ed.
Mm-hmm.
It'll happen.
And then 7 hours later, when we have missed the entire convention and completed one combat,
No, oh god, no. Second ed combat's real quick.
not when I have to keep looking up a thachometer.
It's on your sheet in front of you.
I can't read.
Well, here's the thing. When you play a fighter, you know what your plus is to hit, correct?
No.
Okay, well, we're done with this conversation. You need to go back to school and learn math.
Math.
How do you even do your job?
I'm a professional writer.
Oh, that's a fair point. Oh well. All right, I think we're done here.
Yep.
Later, guys.
Bye.